Vittoria agli assassini. Oh, wait, no. Victoria a los asesinos. Assassin's Creed. Directed by Justin Kurzel, starring Michael Fassbender, Marion Cotillard, and Jeremy Irons. Okay, I'm not sure if I can be completely unbiased on this movie. I have spent way too many hours of my life playing Assassin's Creed. Remember back when I made a Warcraft video and I lied and told you I liked it? Well, I watched it again and it's terrible. But this is definitely better than Warcraft. I won't exactly say that this is the savior for video game movies that I really wanted, but this was definitely a step in the right direction. First of all, I think it was the shortest theater experience of my life. I don't understand what happened. IMDb says that it's 1 hour 55 minutes long, and for some reason, when there was like 10 minutes left, I started getting the feeling that the movie was barely halfway through. I thought they were just completely eschewing the traditional three-act narrative, but then all of a sudden it ended. So here's what I liked about it. One, it was incredibly fast-paced. I think maybe they could have slowed it down periodically, but I had no problem with how quick it was moving. Two, the action was very true to how the video games was. A lot of flipping, a lot of kicking, a lot of counters. Really enjoyed it. And three, most importantly, I like that it took the source material seriously. In years past, video games movies have had to rely on campiness in order to sell the product to a wider audience, and this one really looked at the story of the game and told a straightforward story. It didn't have the Marvel jokes in it, but it wasn't like grim and humorless like Man of Steel or Batman versus Superman. It managed to thread that gap pretty easily. As for the acting, Michael Fassbender seemed to be having a lot of fun doing this. Marion Cotillard, I don't honestly believe that she can do a bad performance at this point. Even in Allied, when Brad Pitt wasn't really given all that much, she was throwing it out there. And this, she was coming at a video game movie like it was some kind of Oscar bait. Jeremy Irons was a really good bad guy. The Templar motivation has always been really persuasive, because in reality, assassins are doing the same thing that Templars are doing. They're both trying to find peace, but through different means. The Templars want peace through control. Assassins want peace through stopping the Templars. Ever since game one, it has been very ambiguous as to whether or not you're really the good guy. And this movie really takes a look at that, because for the first half, you don't really like Michael Fassbender because he's a murderer and he's just completely uncooperative. But as time goes on, you start to see how the Templars are trying to do it for their own gain. They're not trying to completely eradicate free will for the good of humanity. They're doing it so that they can assert their will on humanity. Whereas the assassins are just chaotic good, I guess, if you want to. But I look at it as being neutral. They're trying to just let history play out as it does. A few of the minor roles I thought did really well. Michael K. Williams was great. I never caught the name of his assassin, but I'm a massive Community fan, and Professor Kane is one of my favorite professors they had. And to see him just doing more or less the same thing, but on the big screen, was really exciting for me. Brendan Gleeson had a very small role in which he played Michael Fassbender's father, but in a flashback, they had another actor playing Brendan Gleeson, and I looked it up, and I'm pretty sure that's his son. I mean, it'd be coincidental if Brian Gleeson is just a completely different person who looks exactly like him. And Ariane Lebed, I've never seen her in anything before. I don't know if she does English language stuff, but she was really good in the historical sections of this, which that was like the biggest thing for me, was the historical sections were all in Spanish. I'm not sure if it was historically accurate Spanish, because I don't remember which king had the lisp that made everyone start doing that with the soft S sound. I learned that in like 9th grade Spanish, and I don't remember which one it is. So I'm pretty sure that Spain didn't really have kings, at least not ruling majority of Spain before the Reconquista. So I'm pretty sure that might be anachronistic. But one of the drawbacks that they did, that I knew that they were going to do, is they spent way too much time in the present day. I honestly have believed since 2007 that Assassin's Creed should not have the modern day storyline. It's pointless. If you just made a straightforward assassin game, it would be fun and adventurous without confusing me or making me walk away from the screen while there's a massive cutscene going on for 15 minutes. I gotta say though, Michael Fassbender as Caleb Lynch was a lot better than Desmond Miles ever was. I can't stand Desmond Miles, and I was very happy when he died. Marion Cotillard, though, she reminded me a lot of Lucy, although Lucy was a Templar spy sent to pretend to be an assassin and then pretend to infiltrate Templars and then actually break the assassin out and then betray him somehow. Kill him at a certain point. I don't know. It had something to do with the ancient gods, and I don't understand that. As soon as Juno or Athena or whoever else show up, my brain just shuts off. It's not like they have Anthony Hopkins sitting there going on and boring dialogue about things I don't understand in a way that I'm drawn to, I'm intrigued by. These are just boring CGI models that are glowing and not making a whole lot of sense. I did have a lot of worries about this movie going in, specifically after I realized how bad Warcraft actually was. But also, I started thinking about it, and I really didn't want to see any of that First Civilization bullshit. I was worried that they were going to lean pretty heavily on the third act, and that's probably why I thought that the movie was only halfway through, because I was like, wait, when are they getting to the civilization? They haven't even used the Apple of Eden. That's like the important part of the third act, is once you find the apple, then it's just cutscene after cutscene after cutscene. You play for a few seconds, fight somebody, and then another cutscene with ancient gods or Desmond or something. The other thing that they avoided that I was kind of worried about was using the apple. I was genuinely afraid that I was going to have to sit there and watch Michael Fassbender fight 10 Jeremy Ironses, and I could have lived so well without that. So story-wise, I think they kept it pretty good. They kept it tight. They picked up Caleb Lynch just like they did Desmond. I thought their animus system was a little bit better, though, because Desmond just laying there, I don't know, somehow that injects him with the ability to punch and climb and everything when really his muscles are just sitting there atrophying. Because Michael Fassbender was being whipped around and learning stuff. I like that they made Aguilar much different than Michael Fassbender, to the point where I thought he might have been a different actor for the first third of the movie. Because like in the first Assassin's Creed game, Desmond and Altair looked identical, and it kind of bugged me that there was just a white guy walking around speaking perfect English in Damascus and Jerusalem. Now, see, I liked a lot of this movie because I'm a fan of the games, and this was pretty riddled with fan service. And I didn't necessarily need the animus explained to me. I didn't need the synchronization explained to me because I've played the games and all. So I was following along pretty well, but I can see how it might be confusing if you're not all well versed with the world. Yeah, I had to unsubscribe from the Assassin's Creed subreddit because they were posting the actual verdicts of people's reviews in the titles, and I got mad because I found out that I think Time magazine called it cheerless and dumb. And it's like, I wanted to figure that out on my own. Come on. But I gotta say, it was cheerless. It was a very serious movie. The action scenes were fun, but not like Captain America Civil War fun. Like, just going, yeah, get him. The point was, though, is to show off the parkour more, because the assassin hides in plain sight. I really wish they would have actually done something with hiding in plain sight, but the escaping, that's what's necessary. Yeah, but if they'd have had one scene where he just throws on his hood, turns around into a crowd, and just disappears, that would have been exactly what the assassins do. They spent a lot of time being chased by guys. And as for the direction of the movie, it was a very well shot movie. It managed to keep like a real crisp sci-fi. Like this is gonna sound strange, but it is reminding me a lot of Westworld. The way like the inside of Abstergo looked, how it was all clean and pristine, and they're all in separate rooms. There's less glass, obviously, but then in contrast to being in the Animus, where it's all very orange and old-fashioned. It just, I know that's obvious, but it was definitely reminding me a lot of the Westworld theme to it. Now, I haven't seen any of Justin Kurzel's movies before. I really wanted to see Macbeth last year, but I didn't get around to it. And then I put up an embargo on all movies from 2015, so I'm not getting back to those for a while. But I don't think he did a bad job on this. So I guess in conclusion, I enjoyed this movie a lot, but I'm a fan, and I really don't think that's a partial judgment of this. Reddit kind of ruined that critics aren't liking this movie, and usually I prefer movies that critics like more than audiences do, because audiences like to have fun, and this was a pretty serious movie, and I really liked it just for that reason. They could have went goofy, they could have did like a Prince of Persia type thing, and they didn't, and I'm proud of them. I hope that Ubisoft makes enough money from all of their other Assassin's Creed games, because I don't think this movie is going to do very well box office wise. There was like a quarter of the amount of people in the theater that there could have been. But if they make enough money off of like Assassin's Creed Empire, I really hope that they can keep this going, because I'm digging where this is going. If you can give me an entire movie with Michael K. Williams as the main assassin, I will be so happy. And if you can especially tie it into the games, that'd be sweet, because I know that this is already deviated. Desmond was captured in late 2011, 2012, something like that, because he died in Solstice of 2012, and then everything else has been in sequence year by year. So if they're just inventing the Animus technology in 2016, then they're just disregarding Desmond and Ezio. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Ezio and Raton Keaton and Edward, that they have to be gone. They could still be in future movies, just, they'll have to retcon some of the Desmond bullshit. So, just remember, nothing is true, everything is permitted. Go away.